Welcome back to the firehouse for some more firehouse reasoning. But before we go into any firehouse reasoning, we'll explain, because somebody was asking me, why we keep saying firehouse. Firehouse simply means speaking from the spirit rather than the mind. You know what I mean? I think I've explained this before, like it would be equivalent like a message coming from the sun rather than from the moon, as it was. So firehouse reasoning is coming from the spirit rather than from the mind, because in the mind we have duality, but in firehouse we have no duality. We just look at what is right and what is correct. So when I'm saying welcome back to the firehouse, it's literally meaning welcome back to some reasoning from the spirit, or from conscience, if you want to call it that way. You know what I mean? So from the firehouse now, we're looking at things, some what we call current things that are happening, you know what I mean, in the world today. Things like the persecution of Julian Assange, like I've mentioned in my last couple of speech about Mr. Assange. So it's a current affair that is currently going on, and at the moment now, presently, the Americans are saying that they want him for espionage, as it was, like a spy. Now where is the human rights of courts of justice, like I'm saying now? Because here you have a man wanted for espionage, right? For exposing the murderous activities of the American military services. Now, instead of the human court of justice seeking to prosecute those who give the orders to carry out these killings of innocent civilians, or find the pilot responsible, they are looking to prosecute a man who has revealed their dirty practices. You understand? And everyone in the world now must be able to see, because you got all kind of communication, that the justice system, or the so-called justice system, are siding with those who are committing evil crimes. You know what I mean? The man is an Australian. I bet if he was held by some African dictator, you would soon see Australia lobbying in it for the injustice against one of their citizens. But I don't see the Australian Prime Minister, anyone saying anything. You know what I mean? I don't see Britain here saying anything about the injustice of what is going on. But all this is happening to expose to you the corruption of the system. The whole system is just based on corruption. Currently here now, one of the Barclays Bank directors, who know who is he? He has resigned, and it's on the news that it is exposing the elite, the corruption of the banking elite. The whole banking system is corrupt. Not only Barclays, but Bank of England, whoever. These men in suit that you have been trusting are just devilish men, right? Who are making money out of the miseries of other human beings. The system and the planet is corrupted in whatever form you want to have a look at it. Whether you want to look at the religious, the political, whatever organization set up in here is just one big evil scheme. You know what I mean? You have I was seeing on the news there a program about Iraq, which I know this before. That the amount of people that they kill in Iraq, a man like Mr. Blair should be on trial. Not only him, his little crony George Bush and their administration, for crime against humanity. No, but he's not being charged for no crime against humanity. He's actually now making some money out of Iraq, because after they capture the oil resources of Iraq, which is what they wanted, they never care about the 500,000 other human beings that they killed to get it. You know what I mean? After they get the ILO, they share it up amongst themselves. So now he's reaping the rewards of his evil action. You understand? Living comfortable and making millions. You know, not being prosecuted. You know what I mean? And another thing I noticed, he did run and join the Pope. It's like you join. The Pope won't guarantee you safety, Mr. Blair. Trust me. Roman Catholicism won't save you from your atrocity. Because like I tell you, all that is written and memory. Presently as well, they are encouraging people to kill one another in Syria by arming the opposition and agreeing to arm the opposition. Here is America again. He's got his hand in everything. Pushing and letting people in the news know that Assad is a tyrant and everything. Well, what about these Saudi Arabian tyrants that you've been supporting for years, and those Qatari tyrants that you've been supporting for years? At least in Syria, women can drive. Your little friend in Saudi Arabia, they can't even drive. They are the worst tyrant on the planet. Well, worse than you. No wonder the two of you are in bed, in suppressing other human beings. You don't say nothing about that, do you? And none of the atrocities, like I say, that Israel carry out. You know what I mean? How can there be any justice in this world? But like I am trying to tell people from Firehouse, this is a mind-controlled world. This world is controlled by the mind. You understand? And the mind do not know what is right and what is correct. This is why it have to be. This is why the moon then receive light from the sun. When it's full, it can shine light. So the mind need the light of Firehouse. Don't confuse it by calling it Firehouse. It need the light of conscience to cure its ills. You know what I mean? So the society presently, like I'm saying, the whole of it is based on corruption. You know, like a Ponzi scheme, evil. Money is an evil thing, set up by evil men. And all these men who dress themselves up in suit and masquerade as diplomats, whatever they are telling you, they are just making money, selling arms. They are selling evil. What they are telling you about is the Secret Service to protect you and all that. These are their agents prerogative, what they call them, who go around the world and make sure that trouble is going on, so that they can sell them arms and things. Because without any trouble, like I tell you, this system is finished. Without evil, this system is finished. So if you need evil for a system to run, that means those who are running the system must be evil. So it is time for you now to ask yourself, why am I supporting evil men in their evil deeds? You understand? You have to check yourself carefully. Have a look at what is happening in the world. Who is causing all the killing? If your government is guilty or not, or if you are supporting the wrong side. Are you sending your sons in the army and your daughters for what? For whose cause? You mean for those rich and powerful men who won't send their sons and daughters to war? I can guarantee you that. But they will have a hand in the war, and they will make all of the money out of the war as well, while you die. You know what I mean? And they will forever create enemies for you. The people in this country, they don't want no enemies, just these governments. Evil governments who want to rule. And if you want to rule this world, or this planet, whatever you want to rule, that means you must be evil. Because otherwise you wouldn't want to rule, would you? Just want to live and share. Excuse me. And we don't have a living and caring society on this planet. We don't. So that means that you can see now, like everything is being exposed now, like how you see the bank is corrupted and everything. Now, ask yourself, where is the vices of the religious men? Your religious spiritual leader. How come they are not now coming out and vicing out? Are they not seeing this corruption that is going on? They say, come back to our man here, the Pope. Don't you, has he not seen the video exposing the murderers? And why is he not, when he come out in his big Sunday address, why is he not speaking out in anger at the injustice of what is going on? You know what I mean? Why don't he come and say something even about Mr. Assange or Bradley Manning? As you know, as a spiritual leader, because he's not a political man, is he? So he's got no axe to grind. He doesn't have to beg friend because he's God's soldier. So why is he not speaking out with passion and anger at some of the injustices that he see taking place on earth? No, he's the one welcoming all these big leaders into the Vatican and giving them blessing, like Mr. Bush and Mr. Blair. And when he visit them, they welcome him and lay on the red carpet for him, because he's one of the head perpetrator of evil. You know, well, he represent that organization. You know, he's just a little stooge up front, like I'm saying. But it is time now for the normal run-of-the-mill man, like I would say, to notice the hypocrisy of these idiotic people. Just like I'm telling you, when the occupiers went to occupy the stock exchange here in England, as I would say, God let them occupy St. Paul instead. And what did these church people do? Instead of coming out and supporting the cause, which they know to be correct in their heart, mind and soul, no, they went to the court of devils to get an injunction to drive away the people. And of course the devil was going to give them one. You know what I mean? But who did they never appeal to God. You never appeal to your conscience, you know, to show you the right way and the right way how to behave. You couldn't have done, otherwise you wouldn't have ended up in the High Court. Would you, whoever run St. Paul's? You was more concerned about the amount of money you was losing. You know, excuse me again. You know that St. Paul is in London, there central, and it make a lot of money to tourism. You see what I mean? Exposing the church as a money-making machine. And not as any spiritual guidance here on earth. Because if there was, now is the time when the churchmen, I would say, would at least break ranks and join the suffering in their voicing an objection against the injustices of this world. But they are not willing to speak out because they are part of the organization. They play the part of keeping people's mind dumb. You understand? And it's time for people to realize, just like how these bankers and politicians have been exposed as fraud, so is your religious leaders. They're all frauds. And everything they tell you is fraudulent. That's why they're the one having you, like I'm telling you, worshipping other human beings. Be the beings Muhammad, Jesus, the Buddha, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, Madonna. You know what I mean? No human being is supposed to worship another human being. You know, and to spend years after they're dead, you're still going on about them. You know, and say, oh, they did this and that. Why? You're not paying any attention to your life when you're doing that. Okay, if the being set a good example, and you wish to follow that example, you can follow the example, but that example is in you. You don't have to keep harping on about, you know, Jesus and where he was born and when he come into and what he did and that. That is not relevant to today living, you understand? If it was, if life was acting, yeah? There was a time when certain people was on the stage of life. And when they was on the stage of life, they played their part and acted their part in life. Now, Life is such a thing that you cannot stay on the stage forever. So eventually the mighty dead come and remove you. And then others come to play a part in life. Now, when they come to play the part, they are supposed to play their part, not keep going on about those who gone before and how they play their part. You understand? Because, life is a changing movie then as it was. So now, we are the one now who are on the stage. And while we are on the stage of life in this present time, we are not supposed to go on harping about what the Greek and what the Egyptian did and who built what and who never did and who was the first or second man here. Was it the woman who come first or the man or who? The chicken or the egg and all this thing. When you come into life, I mean all of you who are living now, including myself, when we come into life, it was already running. You know what I mean by running? It's as if when you come in this room as an example, the light was already working, the light was on, and you could see all the things, so you just do what you have to do. So when we come into life, life was already running, and we can see all that is in life. It is up to us now to live life. You understand? Not to spend our time harping about what Jesus did and what day he was born and if the Buddha sit on that tree and what he said this and when he said that and when he said that and all this. Because like I'm telling you before, you might not be able to see this from the mind. But from Firehouse, all human beings are the same. One human being. There is only one truth in the universe. There is only one teacher. So any being who lived before, doesn't matter who the being name was, he would be just like the moon. You understand? It doesn't matter. All that's happening there is that the sun give light to the moon. Light sit up so it can shed light. So any being who live in the past, who was speaking any truth, which is what we call light, he was receiving it from the one that is within, which is conscience. So there is no need to glorify any being, because they are not the light. You understand? There is absolutely no. Can you see it plain or can't you see it? It's too simple for you. Well, let me repeat it again. Any being, then, put it a bit simpler. We all see the same sun, it's the same sun, and all of us who has ever been born has drawn light from that sun. It can only come from that sun. And no man don't own that sun. Understand? Well, within physical man or woman. I would like to repeat, when I'm saying, if any ladies are listening, when I'm saying man, it means woman as well. I don't see man as special. You know what I mean? So I'm saying, let's say being, use the word being then. Any being who speaks truth is getting it from the spirit that is within, or from conscience. So there is only one teacher. Now when you know this, why would you want to go and worship any being? Why would you want to think there is anything miraculous about them? There ain't nothing miraculous about any being who come out of the birth passage. You're all the same, Like I repeat before, we're all full of shit. Ain't nothing special about us. Even your great heroes that you are worshipping, be it Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, or Jesus, Buddha, the Muhammad, Moses, Joseph, Adam, Abraham, whoever it is that you want to come up with and fancy-tize about. Ain't no use fancy-tizing about them, because you are on the stage of life now. What you are supposed to be doing when you are on the stage of life is to decide what is right and what is wrong. Correct. The right way to act on the stage of life. Not to forever keep going on about Jesus and that, and like I'm saying, forever referring to this book as how to act and referring to that book and referring to that book. You are supposed to know how to act, because we are natural actors, and we get this natural ability from the creative energy that created us and instilled in us intelligence. Well, the intelligence, we're saying still, the intelligence is in us ourselves. All we have to do is to make this connection. And we make this connection, just like I say, literally by learning to know how to get fit. You know, I've explained this in reasoning before, but this is a reasoning where it have to come back. And you have to bring these things into most reasoning. Where I'm saying to get fit, there's various amount of exercise that one can choose to get fit. You know, but you ain't going to get fit sitting down. Now, when the body is not fit, it will still work. But when it is fit, it works more efficiently. So the same thing goes for the mind. Our mind works even when it's not fit. Some of your greatest scientists are, what you call your greatest scientists, are not fit. But the mind still works. You know what I mean? Are your greatest inventors or builders or whatever. You know, the mind is not fit, but it's demonstrate that the mind can operate and would actually do what you would think is great things, even though the mind is not fit. Now, how are we going to get the mind fit? We know, like I repeat before, how we get the body fit. But to get the mind fit, you need to live morally, if you know what I mean. And so that means if you was a thief, you'll have to learn how to stop stealing. If you're a hater, you have to learn how to stop jealous, greedy, selfish, spiteful. You learn to control these things. Now at first when you're learning, it might be a bit difficult, just like how the body feels it when you first start to train it. But when you persist, eventually you reach a stage where it becomes natural and you just flow. So that's how you train the mind. And there is no way of the mind getting fit unless you go through this process of training it to be fit. That's why they say self-discipline. That is the greatest teaching that you can get, but no one can give it to you. Just you have to learn it yourself, because no one don't know exactly what it is that need discipline in one, but you, because we cannot see each other. You know, I know some being kind of find this startling, but we are all invisible beings in this world. No one can see a next human being. When you look at another human being, you are looking at their bodies, not them. Understand? I know these things, like I say, because I've got the owl vision. Now the owl, like I tell you before, is used as the symbol of wisdom. But not only that, it's because it's also got night vision. Can see in the dark and can literally look behind its back. It's got like a 90-degree look all around. Yeah? So if you have that spiritually, if you have the vision of the owl, you are able to penetrate within other human beings. You see what I mean? So I can see within other human beings. I know them all of you. But I don't know what you're thinking. You know what I mean? I just know how you are inside. And I know that the master is in you. So if I go to China and tell them about the one that dwell within, they can't deny it because it's a fact. Well, they could deny it, because it doesn't mean China, man. Every Chinese man know themselves. Just like, you know, not everyone know themselves, but anyone who know themselves will know that it is a fact that the one, if you don't want to call it the one, the inner one, or you know, conscience, whatever name you want to put on it, God, you know, but that one dwell in all human beings. Understand? Now I know that for a fact. How did I know that? Because I've seen the one. So when you have seen the one now, you have the ability, like I said, to penetrate into all other human beings. Because this one is in all human beings. You see what I mean? And this one watch it all human beings. You understand? So this one is my master. You know? I am not speaking words. The words that I'm speaking never just fly into my mind. You know, I actually learn them. You know, like how you go to school and you learn things, or when you do your apprenticeship and you learn to be a mechanic, somebody teach you, and you learn, the exact same process I went through, but not with anyone visible, with the one that dwell within. The conscience, you know. It's just that the teacher is not visible. But nevertheless, we are living in a world of visible and invisible. So you have to take into account not only the physical, but the non-physical. You understand what I mean? So my teacher is non-physical. You understand? I am non-physical as well. But I am also physical because I'm in the physical body. You know, but my master don't have a physical body. You know, he's spiritual, but so am I. But for the time being, I'm encased in the physical body, as it was. You understand? So the teaching of Firehouse, then, like I say now, is coming not from the mind, but from the spirit, the one. Now, when we're speaking from the spirit, like I say, we don't take into account Jesus or the Buddha or Muhammad or those things. Because they are not the teacher, is it? They was learned by the master. So what is the big deal about them? You see, it's the big deal about them is by other beings who are maybe in the dark and are looking, they are fascinated by stars. You understand? But we was not supposed to be fascinated by stars. I'll be fascinated by beings who are our brothers, because we all come from the same source. You understand? So you human beings, how it is then? You human beings, will admire each other and say, oh yes, he's great and he's a saint and he's this and he's that. But God don't admire human beings like that and put them up on any pedestal and say how great they are and all this thing. As far as I know, well, if, like I say, if there's any saints, God must have given them sainthood. But it looked to me as if this is not how the process works here. It is you human beings, well, I wouldn't say you, because it's not every human who creates saint. It's the Roman Catholics then, the Pope, and those people who create these saints. You know what I mean? Not God. So if a man is a saint, well, he's a saint. Why have you got to make him into a saint? You know what I mean? Are you God? But this is the ridiculous state of affairs that we have, that keep our mind, keep us locked in the mind. You know what I mean? Because the mind is something that you have to release yourself from, if you know what I mean. It's like where we have to give birth, where we have to birth from. We have to come out, or if you want to put it another way, like breaking out of an eggshell. The mind is an egg that we have to break out of. Otherwise, we'll never see the true world. You see what I mean? Because we are kept in the mind. And the only way to break out of the mind is through honesty. There ain't no other way. Praying ain't going to help you. Joining any religious faction ain't going to help you. Becoming a billionaire and lusting after money ain't going to help you. You know, richness. Let's get this straight now. What deluded people are calling richness, which is tree bark and metal from out the ground. Now all that's going to do for you is a temporary, what you would call luxury. And even when you have that temporary luxury, if you are honest, you're not happy. After you've got all the money, you're still not happy. Because life wasn't about searching for all the money and having it. Because you must see for yourself, Mr. Richman, when you chase after the money and you get it, you must see to yourself that bloody hell, eventually you have to leave it, innit? Because you know death is always on your shoulder. If you don't die where you could die in young age, somebody might get jealous and even kill you for your money, you know. You might even crash in an aeroplane and you're just dead, you know. If not, you live out too old. But when you go, you can't take any money with you. Ain't no money, ain't none of the property. Like I was watching a program and say, oh, Ted Turner, one of them big Illuminati man, own lots of property on the planet. But where is he taking it? He ain't taking it going nowhere. He's got to leave it here. That property cannot help him. So, what is the point? This is why I can't understand how deluded and sick. Seen from the point of Firehouse, human beings are deluded and sick. What is the point of gathering up all what they deem to be wealth on this planet, carrying out all kind of atrocities against their fellow human being to get it, and to live this life of luxury? When I'm telling you for sure, ain't no way you're going to die. You cannot die. Beings cannot die. We are spirit, eh? Our physical form is what is going to die, then how you call. This is what we put in the ground or what we burn. You know, the body. But our spiritual essence, whatever you want to call it, being, yeah, trust me, that cannot die. Ever. Now, our actions that we are performing here have consequences. Not only to the system of law that you see they set up in front of you and says the law, which some of it is right and most of it is wrong. Anyway. But it not only have consequences to that, you know, like if you steal, they will lock you up. You know, so that's the consequences. But behind that law, there is consequences as well. Because some of these devils are breaking the law and get away with it. I say, who's going to prosecute you, Mr. Blair? or George Bush? You are now enjoying the fruits of your evil doing without anyone to prosecute you. Presently then, as it was. But I know, and you know yourself, that there is no, well, and I don't know if your master teach you this, that you cannot die, and that eventually then you would have to pay your dues for the misery that you cause on others. You know what I mean? Right now you're not paying because your Secret Service protect you, ex-president, and you have big status, and you can mingle with the rich and the powerful and all. And all you who are mingling with them and protecting them as well, you will get judged for that protection as well. All of you will have to pay. Like I tell you before and reasoning, there is no escaping your judgment. There is no way of defeating the one. And the one is not a fighter, but you cannot win. All you're doing is like you literally tying up your own self, putting your own self in prison. You know what I mean? Because for the evil deeds that you do, you'll have to reap. And evil men know about punishment anyway. Nobody loves punishing people more than evil men. So they should enjoy whatever it is they are going to reap in it. Because what you did to others, you know, you like tormenting. So you must enjoy torment if that's the case. You know what I mean? Because you saw it. So you have to reap it. But you feel all puffed up and powerful now because you are with your friends and you have your organization of police and army and goons, like I say, to protect you. But for how long? How long can you live? You can't live very long. You know what I mean? So these people, like I'm saying, they must think they are going to get away with all this vile and evil business. All you in those high courts are saying, pursuing an innocent man here now. Well, over this matter anyway, I don't know about the rest of his innocence, you know what I mean? But over the matter of exposing the American military, pursuing him as if he's a criminal. All those who are involved in the well, all of you are devils anyway. Because if you wasn't devil, you would stand up for what was right. You wouldn't be doing that, would you? You would at least say, no, we can't prosecute the man. Because all the man is doing is exposing murderers and killers. And murderers and killers should be caught and punished. They should not be protected by governments and government calling for the head of those who expose those evil. You know what I mean? This is when the people should realize, no, government is sick. Not only is government sick, but what we call our high court is low courts of the lowest form, courts of devils. How would devils know what justice is? How would devils know how to stand up and speak out against injustice? Devils are the ones that prosecute justice. You know what I mean? So you don't expect devilish people to come up with anything good. It's like currently again they're just having what they call, I see they're having a Geneva conference on Syria. Syria wasn't invited. Neither was Iran, who is next door. You have Britain here, France, America, and whoever. It's not their country, and they are deciding what should go on. And say, no, the president should step down. They're not thinking that, oh, there's a lot of people being killed in Syria, and we should do something now so that no more bombs or anything get dropped and no more people get killed. But they are not interested in that. They are interested in killing. And after when they finish with Syria, what do you think they want to do? They want to cause a war with Iran or whoever else they want to cause a war. They'll never stop causing war. And you are there supporting these lunatics. These, what you call Israeli, as if the Israeli are some holy people. They are not holy, they are bloodsuckers. And when I say the Israeli, I mean their government apparatus. Most of the general population are just sheeples. They don't know what's going on. They just dumb down, believing whatever the devil tell them. So when I'm saying the Israeli or the Americans or the British or the French, I am not talking about the general English population, normal man in the street trying to survive. You know what I mean? I'm just talking about the few, the 1% then. The 1% of each nation I'm talking about then that control military might and power. You are the devils. There ain't no devils apart from you. You are the one doing, all you do is perpetrate murder and find ways to kill other people, to control. You understand? Using, and most of the people who are giving these orders, like I'm saying, they're not in the military, they just use men, goons, other goons who they train up. Most of these men are fat cats sitting maybe playing golf or wherever they sit in the shadows. But it doesn't matter where you are in the shadows, like I say, because my master secret agent is better than yours. Yes, man. Like I tell you before, you imply many secret agent, but my master also implies secret agent, conscience and memory, which is recording you and your secret agent. For the purpose of when you leave Earth, like I don't have to warn you, you're going to pay for everything that you do here. You love power. Yeah, man. You carry on that lust for power. Yeah? And enjoy your big funeral, because most of you devils, you always have a nice send-off. You enjoy a nice funeral and you'll have all the pomp and glitter and all these people coming to your funeral. Enjoy your funeral. You know what I mean? Like we say, the ego is running rampant at the moment, all over the place. If you are not an egoistic, you know what I mean? If you're not a crazy ego, like I say now, like if you're not a Lady Gaga or a Jay-Z talking shit, singing shit or a Beyonce and a Rihanna, No one take any notice of you. So for you to be somebody now, you have to be outrageous. You have to be morally sick. That is why I'm saying the Fire Lion is saying, like, how these satanic forces, I call them satanic forces, are always harping on about regime change. Well, yes. Everything that you are after, the positive is after. The positive is after regime. Your regime is going to get changed as well in all this regime change business, because you are the root of all evil. When I say you are the root of all evil, you see, like say when I'm out in the West here now, yeah, and I see people starving in Africa, I don't blame them for starving. I blame Mr. Evil Man here. Yeah, it is you I blame, because I know that if it wasn't for you, those people would not be starving. Would never be starving. They're starving because of your policy, your inhumane policies. Yeah, because you have a far reach. And if you don't think I'm telling the truth, then anyone who go to Africa and find out the resources of that place, see who owns it, or see who set the price for a bit of gold if it come out of there. If it's the Africans who are doing it, if they have the right to set the price for their own commodities that's in their land. No, it is these powerful and greedy men of the West who set up this money business, you know what I mean, to exploit other human beings. It's as if there was these type of beings are what we would call them now. You know how in the animal kingdom you have some other animal who hunt other animals. Well, these kind of beings hunt other human beings. You know, they don't realize that you can live together. They feel in themselves that the only way is to follow the Darwin way, which they're still bigging up Darwin today. And Darwin was a racist. You know, no wonder he come up with this fittest of the fittest. You know, just like how you are following Shakespeare. He was another racist and owner of investing in slave plantation back and those kind of things. But yet these devils are worshipped as great playwrights, are great whatever they say Darwin was. No one examine his character to see that he's just a little devil. You know. But now they have adapted his theory of the fittest then, more or less, to suit themselves. So like I say, if you can run for this, their operator, the devils, not good people, devils operate a policy that if you run to the water first, you can drink it all off. And let the man who is behind you die of thirst, and then just say, well, I'm the fittest in it. I reach the water first. Because the fittest is just selfishness. Fittest of the fittest. You know? What you call natural selection. How do you think? Well, I don't know about other human beings. But how come you are always, I would say, European scientists then, if you want to call yourself white man scientist, how come you use the one who is always explaining everything that happened? You know, you are the one, you know everything, that everything starts by a big bang, and you know your scientists can explain away the world and tell us everything that happened in it. You seems to be some kind of expert in creation. You know what I mean? That you should be the one that educate us all, and anything your scientists say, I must believe them. You know what? But I don't have any intention of believing you and your deluded scientists. Those scientists, like I say, who keep saying black hole is out in space and making millions from that. That is not to say black hole is not out in space, but we are not here to worry about whether black hole is out in space. We are here to know ourselves. You see what I mean? So while you're a scientist, you're a deluded scientist, because they're not moral. To be a good scientist, you have to be moral. So you can have a moral scientist still, you know, I'm not saying that, but they are very few. But your scientists are not moral, that's why they don't know God. If they was living morally, they would have explained God to you long ago. But because they live a moral life, they can only find out about physical things. They don't know nothing about themselves. You know, because they're not, to know about yourself, you have to live moral. And if you are not moral, how can you explain what's going on in the universe? You don't know the laws. To know the laws, you have to be moral. And you ain't living moral. You might, for all I know, you might be a little pedophile. They say he's a scientist, or a little rapist, or a liar, or a thief, or a hater. You know, and if you are that, if you feel any scientists who have any of those sentiments in themselves cannot know the truth. You see what I mean? That when I say you cannot know the truth, yeah, you can know about how to make electric light and all that. Well, you'll never understand anything spiritual, because you're not moral. To understand anything spiritual, you have to be moral. You have to live morally correct. You have to live self-discipline. If you are not willing to live self-discipline, then you go and research, and all your research is evil, because there's nothing moral about it. You see what I mean? Whatever you are working on is evil, because there's nothing moral about it. Because you have to have a moral base to know the truth. So if you have not got a moral base, you are working evil, devilish business. And maybe you are doing this now under the contention that, oh, it doesn't matter, it's only a job. You know what I mean? Because you have to have a living, and when you die, you die. You're not going to die. You can't die. So make sure you are not assisting in injustice on this planet just for the sake, like I say, of a wage. You know what I mean? So it's time to examine carefully what we're doing and who we're working for, which organization we are in. You understand? Otherwise you can be easily be manipulated, or, like I say, stay locked in your mind and never escape, never realize that there was another way in life. You know what I mean? But just listen to these goons that are hell-bent on war and destruction, murder all across the planet here now. You understand what I mean? Like every time I've talked now, in any recent reason, you have to mention America. You know, because America is the head, they are the head powerhouse, and they are the most evilest empire that has arisen on the planet. Yeah, Roman and everything was evil, but they never had the power. They never had atomic power. So this devil is the most powerful devil. America is the most powerful devil that has ever been on the planet. Yes, you are. And I remember, I keep... every time I meant to mention this story, it keeps slipping in my mind. I even started on a few reasoning and it slipped away. But this is going back to a story. I don't know where I hear this story anyway. But they said that in the final days, in the end times, this has gone to Revelation. Like I say, I'm not sure about this one. You know, but it seems to be a scenario that fit anyway. So those who are Bible experts can go and have a look. But that's gone to this story that I hear. There will be 4 great beasts on the planet in the final days. The eagle, which is America, like I said before. That's why he's always up in space. Eyesight, the eagle. The bear, strength, Russia. The dragon, China. And right here now, like I'm saying, we are in this one here territory, England. The lion. represented by the three lions. So these are the four great beasts. Now I don't know when that revelation was written, but it couldn't have been modern time, long ago. And when it was written, those forces wasn't yet gathered. But if anyone have any sense now, like say, I would look at America and say, yeah, that is a beast. You know, the eagle. He's got very powerful things and if he say you can't buy or sell anything, you can't do it really. And then they say the bear is a beast. I say, yeah, Russia, he's represented by strength because he's got a lot of atomic weapons like America. And China, I will have to say, yeah, he look very beastly as well, powerful. And England here now, we have to say, very powerful as well. Him so powerful that he nearly control the whole world once. And look at him, as big as Japan. I mean, Japan, Hong Kong, as big as Hong Kong. You know, and so he's one of the powerful beasts as well. Now, I find that strange that when these things was written, these power wasn't yet around, but these powers are present within this time. You see what I mean? So, looking at those kind of scenario, we are living in a time where I would literally say this in a spiritual way, this is war time. You understand? And I have no doubt in my mind, you know, like I say, my parents, them come from the West Indies to come here to work. You know, from Jamaica to work in England and better themselves. But I have before I was 27, I never, you know, I thought maybe I just come here to join them and, you know, work as well. But from 27, I had no doubt in my mind that I come to oversee the destruction of Babylon. You know what I mean? And to destroy this. I don't even know how I'm doing it, you know, but I know with the power of God, there is no failure in this mission to destroy the structures of Babylon. Not only did I come, I feel that I come to England for that purpose. I am in no doubt in my own mind that that's the reason why I was born as well. So nobody can convince me otherwise, not even my mother or anybody at all. Only God alone could convince me otherwise. And he's not convinced me. Well, another thing could convince me, death. If death strike me down, I die in the next, you know what I mean? Then I would know, well, you never come for that, brethren. It's all in your mind. But for the time being, when I am living now, there is no one in the whole wide universe could not convince a man like me that I am here to oversee the destruction of Babylon. And to oversee the growth of a new way of living. Because the way that we are living now is evil and vile. You understand? And I know a better way. And that way is the one. You see what I mean? So I couldn't let no one convince me that I am not here to reveal the ways of the terrible and dreadful God that dwell within all human beings. And that is the way to make correction to the way that we are living here on earth. You know what I mean? Because we've fallen into the pit of negativity. You know, where we now respect evil and glorify it. But that is not how God created intelligent beings to live amongst one another. You know what I mean? This has been done because of choice. Because you let your eyes carry you away, you know what I mean, into this evil valley. But I'm saying, why do that when you'll have to pay later on? You cannot escape the laws of God. You know, like when you're on earth here, because you have a lot of little money, you can bribe and get out, and you know, you have it easy. You cannot bribe the law of God, brethren. And whoever convinces you that there is not a God, you need to start checking yourself. Trust me. Whoever tell you that there is no God, the minute he tell you that, you should know that this man is sick. Who would want to advise you that there is no intelligence in this universe? You believe Darwin. or the Big Bang Theory. You believe in accident, do you? You think it's accidental why the sun has never moved from where it was, or the moon has never moved on the earth. You think it's accidental and coincidental. You think it's accidental that I am here telling you what I'm telling you. You know, we just come out of it, but it don't mean nothing. So you're saying that my master then come about through a Big Bang Theory? Yeah, I tell you what, it was the Big Bang that produced conscience. There was no conscience, and then the Big Bang come, and conscience was in man then. You think it's the Big Bang? You think it's the Big Bang that taught about memory, how to video human beings and make sure we have all their deeds recorded for when they leave this earth, all the atrocity they commit against the Lord. You think it was a Big Bang that did that? And like I'm warning all you evil man, I love to warn you. You ain't going to get away with nothing. If you ever see my video, take it and go and show it to the Pope and all them kind of people. Where we do Mario ceasing out? Anyway, we have a slight dip in this reasoning, so because the light has faded, we're going to fire out with a warning to check your memory, because that's where the key is. Rastafari.